The United States announced the first round of sanctions on Myanmar's military leaders, and the UN Human Rights Council is to discuss the country at a special session later today. For more, we can speak to our international affairs editor, Armen Georgian. Armen, the Human Rights Council does not have executive powers, but does this special session at least show that the UN is not giving up on this coup?
Well, the Human Rights Council doesn't have the power to give a mandate for intervention, and it can't impose sanctions. It's really a political forum, one which, by the way, has some notable human rights abusers in it, ironically enough. But it does at least provide an opportunity for some countries to keep issues in the international spotlight. That was happening during the whole Syrian crisis at the Human Rights Council, and we're seeing a push now both in the Human Rights Council and in the UN Security Council from members like Britain, the US and European countries to try and get something done about this situation in Myanmar.
Well, let's look more about how the United States is responding. What is Joe Biden's administration doing?
Well, you mentioned that first round of sanctions, Will, in your introduction. The Biden administration says it's willing to go further, but it wants to work with partners in the Indo-Pacific region. And therein lies the problem. You've got a split within the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. There are countries that would probably approve a more robust approach. Certainly, if you look at the Rohingya crisis, you had Malaysia and Indonesia that wanted a more interventionist stance. And meanwhile, countries like Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines wanted a more hands-off approach. You've got, of course, two big players outside ASEAN, which must be mentioned, China, that has significant investments in Myanmar, and India, which has been a major arms supplier. So while on the one hand, Biden's call for this more multilateral approach, it sounds good, but he's quite limited, because how effective can your multilateral approach be if your partners don't want to do the same things that you want to do?
All right. Thank you very much, Armen. Armen Georgian speaking to us about the situation in Myanmar.